Move fast and you do what you want. At this time, doing what I want.
Diamonds through the roof. Ooh, ooh. I done bought the coupe. Ooh, ooh. I done did the robbing. I done did the jacking. Now I'm full rapping. I put on my brothers. I put on my bitch. Had to wear the dress, cause I had a stick. You know where the bag at? Tell me where it is. I came from rest to reach it.
Well, hello. It has been a minute since I posted a video on here. Needless to say, my name is Jazz, and if you watch my previous videos, you can see that I have a completely different background, and that is for a huge reason. I was originally in Chicago, and I just moved all the way from Chicago to Atlanta a couple months ago. So I really just wanted to give you all the juicy details on what that's like, and obviously tour my new place. So a little context on why this move was so big for me. I was born and raised in Chicago. The only time I actually left was for college in Michigan. So still really the Midwest and not too far. It's like a 3-4 hour drive in between school and home. I've never lived outside of the Midwest, like besides little programs and internships here and there for like a couple months at a time. I've never like picked up my belongings and threw them to a whole new state like this. Like this is huge for me. I've been saying for years that I wanted to move to Atlanta and just like experience a whole new city, but this was the perfect year to move because my boyfriend, who I've been long distance with for over 2 years at this point, got a job offer that let him pick in between a few places, and Atlanta was one of them. He got that position in Atlanta, and at the time for him to move, my lease was also up in Chicago. But like I said, we had been long distance for a couple years at that point. So this was just literally the perfect opportunity. It literally felt like there was a giant sign saying like, you need to go to Atlanta at this moment. And might I say, it has been quite the journey since being here. Like there's just so many things that I've gained since moving out of Chicago to Atlanta. Don't get me wrong, I love Chicago down. I can see myself living there when I have like a family and all that and really want to like settle down, buy a house and all those things. But for now, I feel like Atlanta is just like the perfect place for me in this time period. Starting off with some of the good things that I feel like I was able to get by moving out here. The first thing is just breaking out of old habits and cycles. In general, a new environment just gives you a fresh new start on how to do the things that you just got so accustomed to in an old environment. Just being new to the city and a new place in general, I just feel a lot more inclined to try new things, meet new people, and do things differently than I did before. You know, it's just like a lot more things pulling you to stay as you are in your environment that you've been in for years versus something like completely new, and you have to restart a lot of those things and find new ways to make it your own. The other thing is friends. This topic is a little bit of a give and take. A while to actually like start meeting friends and getting out there. Now I just feel like I have a better handle on getting out there, trying new things, knowing what I like to do, what I don't like to do, and etc. I feel like this also goes to my last point about being able to try new things that you typically wouldn't. I feel like I am able to find a lot of friendships centered around the things I like to do. So I have been meeting a lot of people who are into content creation, who are working out, who likes trying different workout classes, going out to see different things. And I feel like that has been so great. And not that I couldn't in Chicago, it was just a little bit harder to, you know, just really just step out of what you're used to do that. The downside to that though is I miss my girls in Chicago, like seeing them on my stories, going out, doing things that we used to do when I was there. It's just like, I should be there. But you know, I can always go back. I have been back like I think 1 or 2 times. I always try to make it a point to see them when I can. So I think right now I'm in a season of trying to learn how to adjust and find a new community out here, which is important regardless. Like I think this is something I need to take even when I do move back to Chicago or if I move back to another place. The other downside to that, I moved here around 7-8 months ago. So moving to a new city, I definitely underestimated like how hard it would be to make new friends, especially as an adult. I think it's just really difficult to like just make those meetups work. Like you really have to put in the extra effort, and especially if you're like working full-time or if you have other responsibilities or if you have family to tend to, or like literally anything, like trying to make friends can be really difficult and expensive. Like if you want to meet a friend for the first time, a lot of the options are usually like a workout class or going to a restaurant. Out here that'd be like a $25 to $100 excursion just to meet one friend. And not to mention, like, I'm just a tired girl. So like having these little excursions every single week, or you know, doing them ever so often on top of everything else that I got going on, it can take a toll on me, especially being a little bit more introverted, needing my alone time to kind of recharge. So with that in mind, I also am a little bit more selective on who I spend my time with or what we do. It kind of just feels like the front Olympics right now, just trying to jump through hoops and figure out like what's the best time, what can we do, what's gonna work for both of us. So that's just something to think about if you ever wanna move to a whole different state where you don't know too many people. Another point on being able to break out your shell and do different things, I have been getting a lot into like my personal development and hobbies and all that. So I absolutely love that this new place is really pushing me out there. I've been getting my health together. I've been finding my primary caregivers out here that have been really helping me. If you follow me on my other platforms, I was recently diagnosed with PCOS and pre-diabetes. And I feel like I've been experiencing these problems for a while, but I did not actually like put the intentional effort to figure out what was going on until I got out here. I started getting Invisalign, I started running, I started getting into other hobbies like record collecting, and there's just so many little things that I feel like just being in a new environment just pushed me to do. But best believe, it came at a cost. I think being out here for the first couple months without knowing too many people, I really had to self-reflect and figure out like, oh, am I sad because I just need people around me, or am I sad because I miss home or whatever? But I think that was really my season of solitude, or I'm gonna call it that at least, where I really had to figure out like, what am I here for? Do a deeper dive into like who Jasmine is, like what do we like, what do we want to do? And I feel like that was transformative. Like going through it, I was just like, dang, I was kind of lonely and sad for a couple months, but coming out on the other side of that, I feel like I've gotten so much out of it. I've learned so much about myself, and it really just set me up for all other aspects of my life, from work, content, to making friends, to just like feeling more like centered with myself. One of the biggest shifts I've seen from moving out here was with work and content. A little background about me: I am a consultant at a Big 4 firm, working there for a little bit over a year now. And obviously that comes with a lot of hours. I very much struggled with that work-life balance and boundaries. I'm slowly understanding like how to make my experience an enjoyable one, like truly understanding like my job is not my only commitment in life. Being out here has really changed my perspective. Like I feel like Atlanta has definitely showed what wellness truly means. I mostly work from home, but I like to go to work from a coffee shop from time to time. And when I tell you that coffee shop would be filled, I'm just thinking like, what is everybody else doing today? Like how is everybody else here right now? I don't know if it's just like the landscape of this out here, because I do feel like there are a lot of entrepreneurs, content creators, self-employed people, so they, you know, have that flexibility. But I'm just like, I love that way of life, so I need to figure out how to do this a little bit more often. And people been showing me how to. Like it's been helping. It's been helping. I feel like I made those shifts just because I was also getting in that mode of like, okay, everything's changing, let me see what I can improve out of this situation. On the other end, with content creation, I have been flourishing out here. I've met so many creators, I've been to so many events, and then just really getting into like the content creator community out here. And I feel like Atlanta is the perfect hub for creators, and in general like the creative space, specifically Black creators. So that is something that I feel like I'm absolutely thriving on in here. There's a little bit of that in Chicago, but you know, Chicago is so segregated, so you really just had to like find your pockets and be super into those communities to find your people. Versus here, I feel like it's everywhere. Like you're gonna get that everywhere you go. And obviously the other big transition since being out here is that I moved in with a man for the first time, which is also a huge step with me. My little boo bear have been together for a little like 2.5 years, and we have been long distance for majority of that. I was really hesitant in the beginning about moving to a whole different state with a man, but honestly I absolutely love that decision. Months later, like I stand by it so much. With long distance in general, there's so much going on with it, and it's just really difficult to handle. Obviously it's possible. You see I'm here, you see we're both here. I think from a day-to-day, especially from a general lifestyle perspective, to like just wanting to get to goals or do anything, Like, a long distance relationship is definitely a lot of time and energy, and you have to like fine tune a lot of the like core pieces of your relationship for it to work. Like, communication is so key, especially like when that person isn't in your face for weeks at a time. It was really just a lot, like from things like making a schedule to call each other every day, or how often we're gonna see each other, literally take a trip every couple of weeks to see each other. Like, it was just a lot of movement going on. Definitely not easy, but I think if you really want to make it work with the person, it will definitely be worth it in the end. So we've both been in the same space, and that has been a huge transition. But overall, it's just been great. I always try to think back to the time when we were long distance, different those times used to be versus now. And we just be like walking around my apartment like, oh my gosh, like thank the Lord. There's just so many things in my life right now that wasn't there over a year ago. Like, even outside of my man, you know, it's like so many things to be grateful for. I'm not doing the same thing from like the overall transition from like the highs and the lows from moving in with your boyfriend. So one great thing is just like, you know, we definitely can spend a lot of time. I feel like our schedules are more in sync. There's dedicated time for us to do work, and then it's not always like an emotional burden when I have to travel or he has to travel. We're both coming home to each other at the end of the day. I feel like another big part about moving into each other is that you can combine a lot of things. Or even if you want to move in, like have your own apartment, not even with a romantic partner or anything like that, like just having like a friend to combine kind of like a lot of those expenses is just like a game changer, especially in this economy. I feel like you need it at this rate. I would have loved to have my own apartment at one point, and I have had like my own place for like a couple months at a time for like those little things I would do throughout the summers and all. Right now, for all the things that I want to do and what I value, I don't think having my own apartment was worth it for this case. I wholeheartedly stand by the decision. A lot of things that I feel like I am able to do because I am not spending, you know, thousands of dollars on an apartment, like different expenses that you would have living on your own. Now the downsides. I think the biggest thing for me was just having to like split my space, specifically the closet. Like, that was really hard. I had to get rid of a lot of things so we both can put our things in together, which is just like so I mean, it is an apartment. I feel like in my dream home I would have my own closet. I think that's just like a minimum at this point, now that I'm actually looking at what it takes. I feel like the other cost of like living with somebody is obviously like just working in with like the way they like things and the way I like things, and just kind of trying to meet in the middle for those times. I don't feel like putting away the dishes, or I don't feel like folding my laundry right now, and vice versa. So it's just like really trying to meet in the middle. Person has a really busy work schedule and doesn't feeling like doing as much. It's like picking up a little bit more. Maybe if I had a really long week or something, maybe he's the one cooking a little bit more that week. So just like really trying to find a balance, and it's not always 50-50. See, it is a household, so we just really had to like meet in the middle. I think those were the main things. I feel like there's been so many transitions from my time being here. Overall, I just feel like I'm progressing in the right direction. Like, I'm becoming more of me by being here, and I couldn't be more grateful for everything that I have and the place I'm in, places I'm going, and it's just like a huge thing to be here. Okay, now that we got acquainted, it is time to get into this apartment tour. Like I said before, I have been moving around almost every year for the past couple years because college programs, internships, moving back home, like just so many transitions, and I've never had the chance to really invest in my apartment or my place of living as much as I have this one. I'm just really just hoping that this is the apartment that I would stay for at least a couple years to really just get it settled in. Like, I think people don't realize how much moving really just takes away from like other things that you could be doing that year. Just moving is just like an exercise that just drains me so bad, and I had to do it so many times over the past couple years. So I'm really just hoping that this is the place that I will be for a couple years and just really get my grounding and a lot of the things that I was not able to necessarily do just because of like having to move or having to change so much around me so often. Me and my boyfriend really put in a lot of time, energy, money, emotion into this apartment. It's still not done. I think there's still like some things that we are still trying to figure out, like what we really want there, or is this even necessary at this point. But I think it looks amazing, especially only being a couple months in, and can't wait to show y'all, so come on. This is the first thing you see when you walk in. We have this little entrance hallway with a whole bunch of doors and storage space, which I absolutely love. Here we have our half bathroom. It's literally nothing in here. I've been here for months and it's just like, what can we put in here to decorate? We did add like a little hand towel and everything, but you can just decorate a little bit more when we have a little bit more time. But this is all we got for now. Coming over here, we have our snack pantry. It looks kind of crazy right now. Really just like a coat closet, but we also made this our storage pantry for all the things that we just couldn't put in the kitchen. Okay, moving on from there, we also have another coat closet for all of our stuff, and also all of our like cleaning supplies, luggage, like just a whole bunch of things in there. But yeah. So yeah, a lot of storage space. In here we have our laundry, washer and dryer. It's actually a pretty big space. I feel like give us a couple more months, we'll probably add some like organization shelves in here. But like I said, moving in is just not a one and done process. I feel like there's always little things that I want to keep on adding or improving or changing to really make this space my own in my dream place. So I'm pretty sure in a couple months that there will be a few things in here that would look completely different from now. And here's the kitchen. I absolutely love like the sleekness of it all. A lot of tans and neutrals in here. I typically tend to go towards a very light, airy feel, especially for something I gotta look at every day. Like, and then over here is like our drink area, I guess. Absolutely love coffee, and I get coffee literally all the time. So my at-home coffee bar is so crucial. This is literally a little Nespresso corner, but this is my Nespresso machine. I was really hesitant to even get this because I didn't think it was actually gonna be good, but their coffee is so good, especially for like the convenience and little pods that it comes in. And then we have a little milk frother, also like a handheld frother, syrups, and the coffee pods, and then this for like really cute aesthetic. And then underneath we have our wine fridge. I'm not even like too much of a wine drinker, but we do try to keep like at least a couple bottles. This is encouraging me to get some more wine and figure out like what type of wines that I like. I do have like a couple bottles in here, but I'm not even entirely sure how to use it. Like I have no idea what these numbers do or like what it should be, but I don't know. I thought it was like a cute little touch. Here's our microwave. That's one thing I don't necessarily understand, is I gotta break my back to microwave my food every day. But you know, you can't have everything. And then here is everything else. These are like little touches that really made the space, you know, that much more oomph, if you know what I mean. Hanging towel holder, which was really cute. A pop of color in here too. I do love my neutrals, but I feel like some color just brings the energy and vibes up here. And then we have our little glass jars, oil, oats, rice, things like that, brown sugar, also for the aesthetics, but actually pretty useful because we use these things pretty often. But yes, this is the kitchen, and then just also showing you the view from the kitchen every day. Like, I don't know what it is, but I've always gravitated towards like big windows. Even when I had my college apartments, to pick my room, my childhood home, I always wanted the room with the most windows. It always serves me right that I also have my dream apartment have a lot of natural lighting. So this is very much just me. And then ending the kitchen off with our little bar area. Actually really cute. I got all these stools off of Amazon and I feel like they fit the space so well. Moving on to the dining room area. I got these chairs off of Amazon, and I was really skeptical about these orange leather chairs. Before we got into like decorating, there was just like a lot of whites and blacks, so like this pop of color was definitely a risk, but I think it worked out well. I feel like it adds so much character to the room. And then we also have like these earthy fake green balls to give the room some more color. I absolutely love how this space turned out. And then we even have some like wall decor right here to add some more dimension to the room. And then here's one of my favorite areas in my whole apartment. So we have our bar cart. It literally just started off as a bar cart, but I had to set the camera down to really show y'all everything over here. So this area really just started out as a bar cart, but we really wanted it to be like an entertainment fun space for when people come over. They just, you know, come over here, go to the bar area, sit down, do whatever. Like, it was supposed to be like a very open thing. Me and my boyfriend recently got into collecting records. Literally like our first 6 records, and then we have a couple more in the back. It's a very beginner collection. Also got this record player from Amazon, and it's just, it gives like a nice little feel to the whole place. Okay, let's get into these details. So cute. And then we try to balance it out between my record picks and my boyfriend's record picks, so it's not leaning too much towards one side. But I still think it adds so much personality to the space. And then we even have Kalani. I think this is Kalani in the record player. I'm gonna try it out for a little bit. Even just the volume.
I stay with my heart on my sleeve. If you fucking with me, anything I'll ever take back. I think I should be single for a while, skating a little while, moving slow down. Probably best I'm single. Love hard, fuck hard.
Yes, that's does everything for me. Okay, moving on from like the gathering, eating, meeting space, we also have this living room. There is just so much that I love about this. Again, like those light earthy tones and a lot of little just splashes of color, and a full body mirror before we leave the house. So I love this living room for so many reasons. Like, it just makes you feel relaxed, and the view is just gorgeous. So you get more of a city view facing this way, but then when you turn this way and kind of like are sitting on the couch over here, you kind of get more of like this nature view, and I feel like it's so relaxing, especially early in the morning, late at night, when it's just so calm and quiet. You could just look at this. So it's really just a space where I feel like I could just come to sit, relax, kick my feet up. Forewarning, if you ever have floor-to-ceiling windows and then live this close to another building, I've actually seen a lot in this other building. Letting people know, we really just wanted a space that would balance us out. Like, you don't want too much of a girl apartment, you don't want too much of a man apartment, because that just won't work for both of us. We wanted to go for a theme of like black and white. I didn't want it to be like just the very simple aesthetic. I wanted to have like some colors, and orange is actually my favorite color. I'm glad we got to incorporate a lot of that throughout the apartment in a lot of different ways, like from the chairs to the candles to the little tones in the blankets and pillows to even a little bit on the bar cart. I just love that this space just feels so much like home, and just, you know, just me, and works for both of us. So go through the secondary room. We got a 2-bed, 2-bath, and this was the secondary bedroom, but we just kind of made it an office because we felt like another bed would just be kind of a waste of space for guests who come every once in a while versus us who sit here every day. It's actually very much a work in progress. The main thing that we use it for is the office, and this is my desk. I always like these like green earthy tones here too, but literally the perfect motivation. Like, this view really just was like, every day, even when I'm going through it. I also wanted to keep this as a little entertainment space, and then also office organization. So there's like a lot of like things that we could just store in here, and I feel like it makes everything look really sleek in this little area. Moving on to this little bookshelf, I wanted to add a lot of different things, like things that we're interested in, things that we like to do, also to show a little bit more personality in this room. Yeah, definitely still work in progress, but I love all the little pops of color in here. Like, it's just like always something to like do, look at. Even this little guy, my little Smeeskies couch, is probably the bane of my existence, but it's just not fitting the space as much as I like. But overall, I think this space is pretty cozy. It's a different area if you want to just feel a different vibe. To the secondary closet, so I wanted to like organize the closets in a way that actually made sense. So like, this is more of like work clothes, more nicer outfits, things that we wouldn't use as often versus like the everyday sweats, athleisure, you know, gym shoes. Here we have my little PR drawer getting stuffed and having to move over here, so I need to figure out what is a good solution. It's second bathroom. I think this is a perfect bathroom for when guests come over. Standing shower, a bath. It's really nice to be able to have two. Like, I feel like it's a very spa zen feel in here. And then we got a mirror and all of the storage space that we use for different things that we may not use every single day. But I do use this room as my makeup vanity. So I have all my makeup in these drawers and a few other spaces that just be able to like spread out and do other things. Okay, I think we got all the spaces. So now we're gonna get into our actual room. So coming in here, so we're also carrying that black and white but elevated feel in here too. Again, with the little pops of colors. We got the weave basket for some texture, and I absolutely love this view. Like waking up with all the sunlight coming in just to hit your face as soon as you wake up is just something I am grateful for every single day. Like I think this is literally what I imagine my room to look like. Now I do think there's some things that we can definitely add in here. The one challenge that we had when coming in here was that like the space was a little bit longer than wider. We might need to like think about like what else to add. I'm thinking maybe like a rug or maybe something, but I don't know. I think it's in a really good spot. So even if we don't add anything, I think it will be fine. Again, our dressers, but yes. And then we also added this mirror in here too. I feel like this opened up the space so much. Little floating picture frame, candles, my little catch-all jewelry tray. I just love so many aspects of this room, especially coming from my old room. I think there was a lot of things that I loved about that room, but it just didn't give like an elevated, mature feel. So I'm happy that a lot of that is actually coming through in my current room. Moving on from the room to our main closet. So these are probably the things that we use more often. So like the sweaters, work shirts, jeans, gym shoes, whatever. Purses, jewelry, all of that, to give up so many clothes. But honestly, I need to learn how to let go of things that I just don't use every day, and I probably still need to do my yearly clean out to actually make the most out of this space. Okay, and then the last room that I have to show you all is our main bathroom. So very light and airy. So what beautiful, has like those green tones, little pops of color. I absolutely love like this underlighting. Like it just gives like a little softer feel. I feel like it just really calms you rather than having like a bright overhead light right in your face. The main shower that we actually use every day. It's like also a standing shower and a bath. I thought it was so excessive to have 4 showers in one apartment, but there's just so many other things that we loved about this apartment, so we had to make do with it. There's nothing wrong with having this many showers, but I think the cleaning aspect was what kind of was just like, ugh, okay. We did make some upgrades in here too. Like we changed the shower head, added this plant, got some floating shelves. We have our roll towels. We each have our own sinks, which was crucial. And also a lot of vanity space. I feel like in my last apartments, or most of the spaces I've lived in, I feel like I've always had to get like organizers or bins or storage shelves, whatever, just to like make all my things fit. There's so many little easy spaces to like put things in here, which was another huge draw to this apartment. All right, and that is the end of our tour. So really just wanted to show y'all what I'm really doing out here to make it my dream home and be really intentional about making this my space. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to show y'all more of my Atlanta living out here. There's just been so much changing and transitions going on. I feel like there's just so much progress happening in the right directions. I couldn't be more grateful for this. If you don't know what blessings you're blocking by staying stagnant and settling. So, and be sure to comment down below if you have any questions about what this transition was like, or what it's like living in Atlanta, especially being a Chi-Town girl. And I cannot wait to talk to y'all next time. All right, bye y'all.
Life move fast when you do what you want. At this time, doing what I want.